Jananam sukadham maranam karunam milanam maduram smaranam karunam kalavashyadeha sakalam karunam samayadipate akilam karunam. Good afternoon. I said good afternoon. I thought you were already not in talking terms with me. This chant, what we did just now, is it okay? Audio is okay? What this chant means is there is a certain sweetness to birth and life. That death is a compassion. However good it is, at some point you want it to be over. Hello? No? Suppose you lived here for 10,000 years. Not good. So death is a compassion, it gives you an end. But life has many struggles. Life has many struggles. Not necessarily because life is doing something to you. Most people are busy doing something to themselves. When was the last time that someone poked you with a dagger? Last time. They never did. Maybe when you were in the school, someone poked you with a pin at the most. Or that also they did not do, they ignored you. Stop it. Or in other words, what I'm saying is, how much suffering is ever coming to you from outside? Minuscule, isn't it? Rest is all of self-help. If there is something to do, people will suffer that. If they have nothing to do, they suffer that immensely. Yes? If something happens, people suffer. If nothing happens at all in your life, immense suffering, isn't it? People come to me and say, Sadhguru, please bless us, nothing should happen to me. So what kind of blessing is this? My blessing is let everything happen to you. Let everything that's life happen to you. Have you come here to avoid life or to experience life? If you're testing out, who is the yogi here? Whatever I say. Yeah, I can sit here like this for the next 3 hours without moving my eyeballs. Don't compete with me. Are we in talking terms? Everything that's life, should it happen to you? You come here to experience life or avoid life? Experience life. But the problem is, most people are not equipped to experience life. Whatever happens, they suffer. If they're poor, they suffer their poverty. You make them rich, they suffer the taxes. That's why they escape to Dubai. No taxes. They're not educated, they suffer that. Put them to school, endless suffering. Not married, they suffer that. Get them married. I did not say anything. No children, many people suffer that. Give them children, daily suffering. Tell me one thing that human beings are not suffering. So the problem is just this, they are suffering time. So Kalavashadiha means one who transcends time. For him, everything is compassion. One who has transcended time has no issues with anything. How do you transcend time? Why time is of some consequence to you. Right now, as you sit here, suppose we sit here for 2 hours, 3 hours, what is he going on talking? 4 hours, without asking me, you will come. Body is keeping time, isn't it? Yes or no? In many different ways, body is keeping time. Or in other words, time is of some consequence to you only because of your physical nature. Suppose you don't have a body, we will sit here for 10,000 years. Any problem? No. Only because you have a body. Body means physical. Physical means everything that's physical is moving in a cyclical way. There are cyclical patterns to everything that's physical. From an atom to the cosmic nature, everything is in cyclical movements. In fact, our experience of time is only cycles. Planet spins once, we call it a day. The moon goes around the planet, we call it a month. Planets goes around the sun, we call it a year. All our experience of time is essentially because of cyclical movements. If everything was going dead straight, you would not know what is time, isn't it? So essentially, people are suffering time because they have to do something. Like these days, doing something means only 2 thumbs, okay? Doing something does not mean like this. They have to do something because time is a problem. But what you call as my life itself is time, isn't it? Your life is just a certain amount of time and energy, isn't it so? In southern Indian languages, death, if somebody dies, we say, Kalamaita. This means his time got over. In fact, that's all that happened, isn't it? Yes, sir? All that happened is time got over. In English also there is a similar term. A few years ago, a couple of decades ago, if somebody died, we would say he's expired. Not anymore. Today you say he kicked the bucket. So essentially, what you're calling as life is a certain amount of time and a certain amount of energy. The problem with time is, it's simply rolling. If you're doing something, it's rolling. If you're doing nothing, it's rolling. If you're happy, it's rolling. If you're not happy, it's rolling. For everybody, it is rolling. Same pace. But still, the experience of time is very relative in the sense. Have you noticed on a particular day, you are very happy? How to talk to such people? Have you noticed on a certain day you were very happy? Yes. On that day, 24 hours passed away like that, isn't it? Yes. Another day you were like this. 24 hours feels like a lifetime. You're a little depressed. 24 hours feels like a lifetime or not? So time is a very relative experience. If you're joyful, it'll go away, your life. Only miserable people have a long life. If you're joyful, if you live to be 100, it'll be gone before you know what happened. So time is a very relative experience, though for all of us it's rolling at the same time. How we experience it is very different. Now time is happening in equal proportion to all of us, but we cannot control it, we cannot slow it down, we cannot hasten it. Now, it rolls at the same time for all of us. But our energies, we can manage it different ways. If you create the necessary energy within yourself, that what someone does in 10 days, you do it in 1 day. This means, if you live to be 100, you live to be 1,000 years. Yes, sir? This you can do to yourself, that you can maximize your energies in such a way that what somebody does in 10 days, you do it in 1 day. This means, in other people's experience, you lived 1,000 years instead of 100 years. This is in our hands. This is why, if you master the time, which means in some way you distanced yourself from your physical nature. If you did not have a body, who cares what is the time? Yes? Only because there is a body. Slowly, initially your lower back will tell you the time. After some time, this will tell you the time. After some time, the bladder will fill up. After some time, it's telling time. Because body is a consequence of many cyclical processes that are happening within us. So naturally, it will keep time. And of course, it will die because it's keeping time. You know, all of you will die one day. Yes. So you didn't come to Dubai to escape death, only tax. Only tax, isn't it? That's okay. That's the best thing about life. Nobody fails, everybody shall pass. See, I have relieved the tension for you. You will not fail. Anyway, you shall pass. It never happened to anybody. You lived badly, so we're going to detain you. No such thing. Anyway, we shall pass. Now the thing is, how shall we pass this life? That's a question. If there is an option between passing your life in highest level of pleasantness or highest level of unpleasantness, what would you choose? You must choose properly right now, I'm going to bless you. Pleasantness or unpleasantness? Pleasantness. So, you want to be pleasant. Is there anybody here in this hall who's not known a single moment of joy in your life? Why is my hand up? You cannot be here because if you did not know a single moment of joy, you wouldn't be alive. You're alive because even if it's not a continuous spell of blissfulness, here, there, joy is happening, isn't it? So this means you know how to be joyful. And as you already said, you want to be joyful. You know how to be joyful and you want to be joyful. But my mother-in-law, but my boss, but my husband, but my wife, but my children, but my bank balance, but my neighbor. Now, to kick this butt, you need a yogi. If you did not know how to be joyful, then you're a little difficult case. If you do not want to be joyful, you're a hopeless case. But you want to be joyful, and you know how to be joyful, but… Shall we kick the butt, I'm asking? You just have to kick this butt, that's all there is. Doesn't matter where they go, people will invent some but, happening or no. This happened. Husband and wife, they are celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary. Many of you are looking terrified. 50th wedding anniversary, 75 years of age. The wife thought of a great romantic plan, as wives do. She said, we will enact our entire wedding day as it happened that day. So they decided to visit the church where they got married. Then they came out of the church, and then on that day they had been to a movie, so they went to a very romantic Italian movie. Then they went to a certain restaurant, they ordered the same food, same wine. Then they got into the car and driving to that particular hotel where they stayed 50 years ago. Husband was driving. She looked at him and said, John, what's the matter with you? You remember how passionately you kissed me on that day? He said, yeah, I did. 50 years later. We have to do everything the same way. Then he leaned over to kiss her, and he did, but the car crashed. 50 years later, it's not the same thing. Car crashed and both of them found themselves at the gates of heaven. Then they went in and they asked the keepers there, because both of them were golfers.
Golfers?
They asked, "Is there golf in heaven?" They said, "Of course, the most immaculate courses that you can find." But really, can you see? I said, they opened one door and it was a golf course, most spectacular golf course. Is there a tea time? Any time is tea time in heaven. Can we tea on? Yes. So the husband drove the ball went straight, splitting the fairway, long and straight. Then they walked down to the lady's tee, and the wife swung. She also had a very long and straight ball. Now they're walking for the second shot. And suddenly, the husband became a little depressed. You know, as it happens many times. She looked at him and said, "John, what's the matter? We're in heaven. We're upon the most spectacular golf course we've ever seen. You had a straight ball, I had a straight ball. What are you looking depressed about?" He said, "If it was not for your stupid health food, we could have been here a long time ago." You must see, for every solution there is a problem. People are busy finding a problem for every solution that they have. Actually, your education, your job, your marriage, your children, all these things you did as a solution for your life, isn't it so? Hello? Yes. But in every solution there is a problem. But sadly kicked the butt. What is considered as life is largely accessories of life. We added all these things to our life. Our home, our vehicles, our jobs, our money, our wealth, our relationships, all these things we added to our life to enhance our life, isn't it so? But what is throbbing inside this is the life. So, yes. Everything else is to enhance this, isn't it? But everything else is happening, the entire drama is happening, but this, nothing much happening. Life is not happening. All the accessories are happening. Too much frill, no skirt. That's a problem. So you always feel insufficient because too much frill and no skirt. Too many accessories, no life. Largely, for most human beings, their idea of life is just their thought and emotion. Your thought and emotion is just the psychological framework of who you are. You could make it any way you want. You could make it whichever way you want if you're willing to take charge of it. Your thought and your emotion, should it happen the way you want it? Only 25 people are saying yes. Your thought and your emotion, should it happen the way you want it? Yes. If it… no? Yes. If it did happen, if your thought and emotion did happen just the way you want it, would you keep yourself blissful or miserable? So the problem is just this. Even the most fundamental aspect of yourself, your thought and your emotion, is not happening the way you want it. Or in other words, see, nobody in your life will happen 100% the way you want them. Your parents, did they happen your way 100%? No. Your spouse? No, 51% if they're happening your way, you have the controlling stake. If you try 100%, it's finished. Yes? 100%, nobody happens. Nobody in your life happens 100% the way you want them. Not even your dog. These days they do their own thing. Animal rights. Nobody happens your way, this is not the problem. This one person must happen your way, isn't it? Yes. This person must happen your way. If this person happened your way, I'm sure you will make this into a fantastic human being. Can I trust you on that? Yes. If you become a fantastic human being, will we have a fantastic world? Yes. There's no other problem on the planet except you. Yes or no? If all the human beings vanish tomorrow morning, is there any problem on this planet? Everything is fine, isn't it? So there's really no other problem but you. If you make this work the way, just the way you want it, it will happen. Now the problem is just this. You have been given a very complex mechanism called human mechanism. I'm asking you, have you read the user's manual? Not yet? How old are you? If you don't read the user's manual, how will you use it, a complex mechanism, accidentally? If you do something accidentally, anxiety is normal, isn't it? Yes? If you're doing something accidentally, isn't being anxious a normal process? It's like this. Let's say you don't know how to drive. Let's say you don't know how to ride a motorcycle. There was somebody's motorcycle sitting on a stand, you went and sat on that and started doing guru, guru, guru. Somehow it got started and started moving. Anxiety or no? Started moving faster. Fear or no? Started going very fast. Terror or no? It's the same thing. If you knew how to ride this motorcycle, faster it goes, better it is. Yes or no? Now, your thought has become a problem, your emotion has become a problem, just about anything has become a problem simply because little fast it goes, you will become a wreck. If you don't go as fast as somebody else, you will become depressed. Yes. You look at somebody or you look at a slow-moving coach and think, I'm going fast, and then you feel happy. You look at somebody else going very fast, you feel depressed. Happening or no? Or in other words, your joy is only in somebody being less than who you are. This is not a good way to build your life. It's like, right now I have eaten well, all of you are very hungry, so I feel very happy. This is sickness, this is not joy. Yes or no? If you enjoy what somebody does not have, does it amount to sickness or joy? Sickness. Joy is not because of something outside. when you experience the exuberance of life, when you feel alive, spectacularly alive, you're joyful. When is the last time you sang in the bathroom? Today you didn't. Or in other words, your aliveness coming down. I want you to look at this. When you were 5, 6 years of age, how alive you were. Today, how alive you are. Has it gone up or gone down? See, with age, physical agility will go down, all right? That's inevitable, we can't help it. But your aliveness need not go down. Yes? If your aliveness is going down, it means you're committing suicide in installments. As you do everything in installments today. Yes? You buy a home in installments, you buy a car in installments, you get married in installments. Of course, we're dying in installments, but you don't have to commit suicide in installments. Because if I just hold your throat down, like, no, I won't kill you. Just like that, little down, I will hold your throat with 20% pressure on your throat. What does it feel like? Torture, isn't it? I'm saying, if you reduce your aliveness, living here is a torture. To wake up in the morning is a torture. To go through every simple thing is a torturous process because you reduce your aliveness. If you were buoyant with your aliveness, every damn thing is worthwhile. If you reduce your aliveness, everything becomes heavy, burdensome, not worthwhile. Yes or no? If you're afraid, in case you're afraid, if I don't slowly commit suicide like this, I may not die. If you have such a fear, I'm assuring you, you will die. Really. You don't have to be afraid. If I don't constantly work towards my death, it will not happen. It will happen, believe me. It will happen. You have any doubt? So you don't have to practice it. This is time for life. This is time for life, isn't it? Death will come, you don't need any practice, anyway it will come. And it will happen perfectly. Have you ever seen anybody dying inefficiently? People are living inefficiently. Has anybody died inefficiently? So what is it that we need to do about this? It's simple. First and foremost thing is, what is the sun? Press sun. Says? Okay. Temperature comes at a cost. We have engineered the outside. We can create the climate that we want around us. All I'm asking you is, are you able to create the climate that you want within yourself? Sometimes yes, sometimes no, on and off, on and off, on and off. When things are on and off, when smallest things throw you off, then slowly you hesitate to do anything. You go on curtailing the possibility of your life because you may get hurt, you may suffer. The fear of suffering has hugely crippled humanity. The fear of suffering has made you into a half-step. Only if you become like this, that no matter what happens, this is how I will be. If this assurance comes within you, then you will walk full stride in your life. Otherwise, what will happen to me is always the controlling factor, isn't it? This dimension of life, if one has to approach, at least to be peaceful and joyful should become normal. It should not feel like an attainment if you're peaceful. People are trying in so many freaky ways, even so-called spiritual leaders are going about saying, peace is the ultimate goal of life. Such people will only rest in peace. People are trying to get to this in many ways. So many ways. This happened. Shankar and Pillai, at one time, as a little abusive husband, worked with him. So screaming and yelling, all this. But the wife was undisturbed. One day, in the middle of his fit, he stopped and asked, how do you manage this? No matter how much I yell at you, abuse you, you don't say a thing, you're just peaceful. How do you manage this peace? She said, I clean the toilet. He said, what? What has that got to do with this? She said, I use your toothbrush. Watch out. You better watch out. Because if you do nasty things will come back to you. You think it'll not? It'll come back. To be peaceful, to be joyful, people are making it into two big things. They are not big. It is just that you have to read the user's manual. How to keep your body, how to keep your mind, how to use your thought, how to use your emotion. It's really amazing. 30, 40, 50, 60 years of age, people still don't know how to handle their thought process. This happened. An Indian man went to United States. Of course, as a technology person. Then he started investing here and there. Then he started playing the stock market. In 1994 or 1994 I think, he had a windfall and he made a huge amount of money on the stock market. He was already over 60 years of age, and just the previous year he had to divorce. Appropriate timing. Because in California the rules are, you have to give 50% of your money to the wife. Just the previous year he had divorced, and now he made the money. So he wants to spend the money upon himself. So he bought himself a 1932 Ferrari for $36 million. He bought himself a Beverly Hills home for $80 million. Like this he went about splurging because he wants to spend the money upon himself. Then he decided he needs a medical checkup. In Northern California, there are medical institutions which are swankier than 7-star hotels. So he got himself admitted. This is not some dreary one-day test kind of medical affair. This is a fortnight, like a restaurant. You can choose your tests. There's a menu of exotic tests. You can choose what are all the tests you want to go through. So he chose all the most expensive tests. And they appointed a pretty-looking young woman to take care of him. He was enjoying the entire process. On the 4th day evening, he was feeling very relaxed lying down in his bed. But unfortunately, what should happen in the toilet happened upon the bed. He felt very embarrassed. He did not know how to deal with this mess. He was just looking at this mess on the bed, how to deal with it. Just then, he heard this young lady coming towards his room. Fortunately, in America, young ladies don't walk quietly. Talk, 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 repeat. And he did not know what to do. He does not want this young woman to see this mess on the bed. So he gathered all the sheets, hospital sheets, and threw it out of the fifth floor window. As these white sheets floated down, a regular man, just a regular man, was going back from a party. It's such an unfair world. A man is expected to walk on a round planet, and the damn thing is spinning. So with great difficulty, he was walking sideways and finding his way home. And the sheets came and covered him. He screamed and yelled and fought with the sheets. It took him over 2 minutes to get all the sheets down. And he stood there, dazed, looking at the sheets. By then the security arrived. They said, "What is all the commotion about?" He looked down at the sheets and said, "It looks like I've beaten the shit out of a ghost." Now this you're doing every day. You create stress, and then you go to a stress buster, like Ghostbusters, you know. Your stress, your anxiety, your depression, your nonsense, whatever you have, is essentially your making, isn't it so? Hello? If you only realize how I make these things up, you would stop it. If you only carefully pay attention to the user's manual, you would not use it in this way, isn't it? If your hand becomes like this, suppose your right hand suddenly starts punching you violently, what should the person next to you do? Hold it down, isn't it? But if it has continuous impulse like this, tie it down. But if it becomes uncontrollable, these two fingers will go and pluck off the eyeballs, then they must amputate the hand. Yes, sir?
Yes.
This is what you're doing one way or the other, because you never paid the needed attention as to how to handle this cerebral capability that we have as human beings. In so many ways to kill it. I don't know whether you're killing it with the mantra, or with the drink, or with the drug, or with excessive eating, or simply there are internal ways, you know, committing suicide in installments. In some way, you're taking away the exuberance of the mind because it's causing so much mess. The problem is just this. It's a very evolutionary problem, it's not your fault. You know Charles Darwin? He said you were all monkeys, not me. That is, he said you were all monkeys, your tail fell away and you became human. Yes? I will make it very simplistic. It's a much more complex affair, but to make it very simplistic, he said something like this: a goat could have become a giraffe over many million years. A pig could have become an elephant over many more million years. And a monkey became human rather quickly. So quickly that anthropologists think there must be a missing link somewhere. Till now they have not found, you must always be looking up. The DNA difference between you and a chimpanzee is only 1.23%. 1.23% is not much of a difference, isn't it? Is 1.23% a big percentage? Physiologically, that is how close you are to a chimpanzee. But in terms of your intelligence and awareness, you may be worlds apart from a chimpanzee. Now our problem is this: you have a cerebral capability, you have a mind for which you don't have a stable enough base. Now it works against you. You don't really need an enemy, isn't it? Hello? You're in self-help. Nobody needs to stab you every day, poking yourself one way or the other. People come to me and say, Sadhguru, my mother-in-law, she's impossible. And my husband, after all, her son. My wife, oh, there is no solution for her. My boss is not even human. Like this, many complaints. I said, don't worry. Your mother-in-law, husband, wife, boss, nobody will be allowed here, just you. Just you. Nothing to do. I will give you a nice place to stay and good food to eat. Nothing to do. Just be joyful. You just give them a room and ask them to stay. Tell them, I'm going to make random checks on you. If I find you miserable, I don't believe in feeling misery. So you should not feel misery, isn't it? If you're joyful, I will take care of you for the rest of your life. In 24 hours' time, you visit them and see in how many ways they twisted themselves out is unbelievable. When you're alone, if you're miserable, you're obviously in bad company, isn't it? If you don't fix this one person, believe me, if you turn the world upside down, still it'll be the same damn thing. Yes, sir? Many people are hoping, this world is bad, we will all go to heaven. But I'm asking you, do you have any proof? Do you have any proof that you are not already in heaven and messing it up? Do you have any proof? No. Maybe you're in heaven and messing it. In this condition, wherever you go, you will only mess it. Yes? What's wrong with your life? Really nothing? Compared to any other generation on this planet, we know better comforts and convenience than anybody ever on this planet, isn't it so? Are we not enjoying all this? But so what can we do? First and foremost thing is this, we have too many ideas, no perception. Idea means you can make it up, yes? Perception means you perceive only what is there, you don't make up anything. This is very important, very, very important. The moment you say, I like something, you will exaggerate it in a positive way. The moment you say, I don't like something or somebody, you will exaggerate it in a negative way. Yes or no? But if you want to navigate your way through this world, the most important thing is you see everything just the way it is. Yes? If you do not see things the way they are, you cannot handle life in any sensible way. Can I tell you a little story? I seek your permission because the moment I say once upon a time, a lot of people think it's bedtime. This is not once upon a time. You know, my girl was only 3.5 months old when she started traveling with me. So I was in my front seat, my left hand is on her, my right foot is down, and I drove all over India like this. She grew up in the car till she was 5. So at this time, we are in various homes, every day I'm in a different home. Adults will pounce on a child. The moment they see a child, they think they have to teach the child something. The biggest problem in the world is, everybody is busy teaching somebody something that has not worked in their life. You must at least take this much commitment in your life. What has not worked in your life, you should not pass it on to anybody. What has truly worked in your life, please share it with the world. Yes or no? That much integrity you must have, isn't it? But you will see, everybody is… the moment they see a child, their mouth will water. They want to teach the child something. Between you and your child, who is more joyful? Who should be a consultant for life? So I made a rule wherever I went, nobody will teach this girl anything. No 1, 2, 3, no ABC, no Mary had a little lamb. Because I don't care whether Mary had a lamb or not. So I said, nobody will teach her anything. So nobody teaching her anything. Because nobody is telling her anything. She's all ears, she picks up everything. By the time she's 18 months, she speaks 3 languages very fluently. Because nobody teaches her anything. She's soaking up everything that's happening around her. So, things went on like this. When she's 12, 13 years of age, she came back from school and she was a little disturbed about something that happened in the school. Then she came to me and said, "You're teaching everybody so many things, you're not telling me anything." I said, "Well, I am not known to teach anything unsolicited. Now that you've come, let's see." I said, "See, this is all you have to know. In your life, this is all you need to know. Never look up to anybody." She looked at me like this, "What about you?" kind of thing. I said, "Not even me, because if you look up to me, you will miss the possibility of who I am. If you see me for what I am, the value is very different. If you look up to me, you will make up something in your head which is of no consequence." So, never look up to anybody, never look down on anybody. Then you will see life just the way it is. And navigating your way through the life is not even a problem. Now, as simple as it sounds, the problem is you are constantly busy arranging the world and the existence. This is high, this is low, this is God, this is devil, this is virtue, this is evil, this is sin, this is this. Constantly arranging the world like this. If you can simply look at everything just the way it is, not looking up, not looking down, simply seeing everything just the way it is, it is not even an issue to handle life. But the moment you say something is good, you will get identified with it. The moment you say something is bad, you will get aversion towards it. Yes or no? Once you develop this, then you start a volatile movement in your mind. Now you can't stop it. If you sit, stand, sleep, it is going on and on and on endlessly, on the verge of madness. People generally are in a socially accepted levels of madness. If they cross that, they are sent elsewhere. If they are within that margin, You do get mad sometimes, don't you? Hello? This expression is used, isn't it? I'm mad with you. So, you're off and on mad. Some people are more consistent. This is not lack of intelligence. This is not a lack of balance. There is no stable platform. Intelligence is there, no platform. If you had the brain of an earthworm, you would be quite peaceful. Yes or no? The problem is the brain. Shall we remove it? Yes. People are trying to remove it in so many different ways. By soaking it in alcohol, or eating till here. In so many ways, they're trying to slow down, they skill this in some way because they're unable to handle their own intelligence, isn't it? If you had half the brain that you have right now, for sure you would be more peaceful, isn't it? Yes or no? So what is a possibility? What is a tremendous possibility has become a problem. Every possibility is like this. In our lives, if a possibility arrives, if you don't make it into reality, it will become a problem. Being human is a tremendous possibility. We are the top species on the planet, isn't it? Some of you are not agreeing with me. It's okay, it's okay. I leave it to you. We are the top species on the planet, isn't it?
Yes.
Most evolved, supposed to be. On top of the pile of evolution. But no creature on the planet is suffering as a human being suffers. No creature on the planet is creating the kind of problems that human beings are creating. See, if you are intelligent, should you create solutions or problems? But no creature has ever created the kind of problems human beings are creating, isn't it so? So that means we have an intelligence that's not working for us, something working against us, isn't it? If we have to get this in line, there are many simple processes. One thing is, you need a little distance to understand the nature of the mind. When I say nature of the mind, how does your mind function? What drives it? What keeps it going? What keeps it at an insane level of activity? Whether it's necessary or not necessary, it's simply going on. Most people are in a state of mental diarrhea. Non-stop it is flowing. Suppose if you sit here, your hand started jumping all over the place. Would it be ridiculous? Just ask people. If your mind is hopping all over the place, is it not ridiculous? Your only comfort is, nobody is able to see. But you are able to see, is that not bad enough? Is this life about other people's opinion, or is this life about your experience of life? Which way is it? This is about how you experience your life, how profound it is, how beautiful it is, how exuberant it is, how fantastic it is. This is what this is about. This is not about what somebody else is going to say about it. Yes? But this, the problem right now is, everything that you know as life is happening to you only by comparison. Because your sense perception of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting and touching is only by comparison. Because you have seen darkness, you know light. Because you have heard the sound, you know the silence. Because I touch this, now it feels cool to me. It feels cool to me not because I know how it is, it feels cool to me simply because of the way my body temperature is right now. If I lower my body temperature and touch it, this would be warm to me. Yes or no? Let's say you're 6 feet tall. If you're 6 feet tall, you stand like a tall man, you walk like a tall man, you think like a tall man, you feel like a tall man, you are a tall man. You went to another society where everybody is 8 feet tall. Now you stand like a short man, walk like a short man, think like a short man, and you are a short man. Yes or no? So what you know in comparison is not a reality, it's a distortion of reality, useful only for survival process. It is not useful for anything else. Because everything that you know is coming to you from your sense perception, you inevitably compare. The moment you compare, somebody is better, somebody is less, somebody is high, somebody is low, somebody is good, somebody is bad, because inevitably you're comparing. That is not the nature of your fundamental intelligence, that is the nature of your sense perception. So the same thing is extending itself. So if you have to go beyond this, at least your perception, a little bit at least, must go beyond your sense organs. You must be able to sense something beyond seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting and touching. Only then your mind becomes in such a way that it can simply perceive things for what they are, without comparison. Because in comparison, always there will be distortions. What you think is great in one place. If you go to another place, it's no good, isn't it? With this, you can't figure the nature of life. You can exist in a society, you can survive, you can earn a living, you can compete, but you will not know the nature of life. Survival is the simplest process of life. We are raising survival to heaven right now in the name of economics. Survival is the simplest process of life. Every creature, a worm, insect, bird, animal, all of them are surviving, isn't it? Without fuss. Yes or no? They are surviving without fuss. You're surviving in great fuss. Yes or no? Too much fuss. Human beings are making too much fuss about survival. Just to eat, sleep, reproduce and die one day. How much fuss they're making? Too much fuss. You must set a bar to your survival. You must define what is survival. Otherwise, your idea of survival keeps on growing, that you will never get to do anything else with your life. You must… your definition, not my definition. You define, this is survival. Beyond that is all about making the experience of life more profound by the day. All of you should come to some definition, isn't it? You should not look at somebody, oh, he's surviving better, she's doing better than me. That's not the point. You define your idea of survival. Stick to it. Rest of the energy and time that you have should go towards making your life into a profound possibility. Because that's all you have when you die. How profound is your experience, isn't it? Yes. You know all of you going to die? No, this is not my wish. I bless you with a long life, but you'll anyway die. Yes or no, is it okay? No, because I'm asking this question, because a whole lot of people think other people die. No, you and me will die. Yes or no? Yes. Because it's a limited amount of time. That is why the need to wake up sooner. If you are living here for 1,000,000 years, I won't bother. It's brief. Before you know what's happening, it'll be gone, isn't it? So many people. You know, before you and me came here, countless number of people walked upon this planet. You think they were all idiots? Hello? They were also smart people. They also thought they were very great. Where are they? All topsoil. Yes? This will also become topsoil. Unless your friends choose to bury you real deep, fearing that you may raise from the dead. Sometimes it happens. This happened. There was a couple, husband and wife in Texas. It was their dream to go to the Holy Land. They wanted to go to Jerusalem. But life went on, business, children, this, that. They could not make it. When they're over 70 years of age, they got the opportunity, so they went to Jerusalem. Jerusalem is a place where every cobblestone is reeking with history. So they walked the street where Jesus is supposed to have walked. They went to the place where he was supposed to have walked upon water. They were completely overwhelmed. But unfortunately, the wife had a heart attack and she died. Now he was making arrangements to take the body back to Texas. Then the local people came. They said, see, this doesn't make sense. It costs $18,000 to transport your wife's body to Texas. And there are local charges for the funeral and this and that. Because you have lost your wife and you're in distress, we will do everything for you, $21,000 right here. And believe me, this is the Holy Land, this is the best place to die. The man thought about it and he said, no, I'm taking my wife back to Texas. Then they said, all right, you are in Texas, we love Texan people. For you, we will give you a super discount, $12,000. This is it, come on, let's do it. He thought about it and said, no, I'm taking my wife back to Texas. I said, see, it doesn't make sense, $18,000 just for transportation and then more expenses. $12,000 we are saying, all right, you are in a state of mental distress because you lost your wife. In this state, you can't make good decisions. So out of our compassion, we're giving you super discount, $6,000. This is it, last price. The man thought about it and said, no, I'm taking my wife back to Texas. They said, why? Doesn't make sense. He said, in Texas, dead stay dead. Many people, countless number of people have walked this planet like you and me. They all thought they were fantastic people. But now, this is our time on the planet. This is our time on the planet. It's for us either to make life spectacular or miserable. It's in our hands, isn't it so? Sadhguru, looks like you have not seen my family. I thought you made a family to enhance your life, isn't it? Yes or no? Yes. You did not make a family to drown yourself in it. You made a family to enhance your life. And that's how you should use your family, to enhance your life, not to drown yourself in it. Yes or no? Yes. You found a job to enhance your life. You started a business to enhance your life, not to die into it. Isn't it so? Someone comes to me a few months ago, he's running one of the very big multinational companies in India. He said, Sadhguru, I can't take it anymore, the kind of pressure they're putting on me, it's just impossible, I can't take it. Then I raise my hands and say, may you be fired. Sadhguru, what are you doing? I said, well, you're suffering so much. If you're fired, you can at least walk on the beach. And I'm sure somebody is willing to take this damn job and do something of it. I'm sure there's so many people waiting who can do it a little more joyfully than you. What is the problem? The problem is there is no problem. Problem is just that human beings are trying to live without understanding the fundamentals of who they are, what is the nature of their existence. Now the question is, why should I do all this? Isn't a dog living without understanding anything? Isn't a cow living without understanding anything? Isn't a bird living without understanding anything? Yes. This is an important aspect that you must see. In the evolutionary process, for all the other creatures, nature has drawn two lines. Within those two lines, they live and die. For the human being, there is only bottom line, there is no top line. Whatever you do, it's not enough. Something else needs to be done, isn't it? Yes or no? Whoever you are, you want to be something more or not? If that something more happens, what? Something more, something more, something more. What is this about? Why go in such small installments? I will make you the king or queen of this planet. Don't look at me hopefully. What makes you think I'll come in such a blunder? But suppose you become the king or queen of this planet, would you be fulfilled, I'm asking you? No. You would say, but what about our solar system? I say, okay, you be the king of the solar system. What about the universe? All right, we'll give you the galaxy. If I give you one galaxy, will you be fulfilled? You will want more galaxies, isn't it so? So there is something within a human being which doesn't like boundaries. There is something within a human being constantly longing towards an infinite goal. You are not looking for more, you're looking for all. See, this is the nature of human intelligence. You don't have to go through everything. You got a simulator. Hello? Do you have it now? You got a simulator. Sitting here, you can see, suppose I become the king of the universe, what will happen? You can see from here only or not, experientially. You know what's a simulator? People go fly an airplane on a simulator, have the entire experience without ever taking off from the ground. You have a simulator or no? So you have a simulator, try it and see. You are the king of a galaxy. Are you fulfilled? No. So your goal is obviously infinite expansion. Or in other words, what has happened is, there is something within you which is constantly longing to be something more than physical. Why I'm saying something more than physical is, physical world is a world of boundaries. Physicality is a dimension of boundaries. You can call something physical only if it has a defined boundary, isn't it so? If there is no defined boundary, it cannot be physical. So there is something within you struggling to go beyond physical nature. Because what is physical in you is something that you've acquired and gathered over a period of time. This body that you carry, your physical body, were you all born like this? Huh? Huh? Slowly, eating, became like this, isn't it? What was soil became food, what was food became flesh and bone. If you don't get the point now, one day you'll get it from the maggots, that the body will become once again soil. Yes or no? Now, physical is something that you gather. What you gather, you can claim it's yours. I'll leave it at that, I won't dispute it right now. But you cannot say it's me, isn't it? As I'm speaking, suddenly I picked up this vessel and said, this is my vessel. You will think, oh, Sadhguru has some problem. But let's listen some more. Everybody says he's wise. After some time I said, this is me. Then you'll say, let's go. This is going too far. But this you're doing every day. Food appears on your plate, you say, this is my food. You eat it, then you say, this is me. Yes, sir. If I claim this is me, you would think I'm mad. What should we think about you? Same thing, isn't it? Maybe you're smart, but this happened. A lady was driving a car and then she had a flat tire. And the car just stopped in front of a mental institution. She heard some strange noises, she was very nervous, and she's never really changed a tire in her life. So with great difficulty, she read the manual and got the jack out, lifted the car, took out this tire, very heavy, pulled it out, put it, and she took the four nuts and put it in a hubcap. And she with great difficulty was wrestling with the other wheel somehow. She got it there, and in this woof, she stepped back. And she stepped on the hubcap, and these four nuts just flew in four different directions. She searched and searched, she couldn't get it. She didn't know what to do, she was just frustrated. She's got the wheel somehow, but now she doesn't have the nuts to put. A young man was standing on the third floor of this asylum, looking down, and he said, "Hey lady, look here. You do one thing, you take one nut out of each of the three wheels and put it on this one. With three nuts, you can drive. You can go to the gas station or someplace and fix it, but you'll have no problem, you go." She did just that. And she put the jack down and the car got back. And she looked at the young man. She said, "You're so smart, why are you here?" He said, "I may be nuts, but I'm not stupid." I'm not saying you're stupid, little nuts. Because if what is not you, if you think it's me, little nuts, isn't it? Yes, sir? Something that's not me, if I think I'm this, little crazy or no? Similarly, if you think I'm this, is this crazy or no? Something that you gather, it can be yours, it can never ever be you. What you call as my body is a heap of food. What you call as my mind is a heap of impressions. Between these two impressions, heaps of impressions and food, where the hell are you? Yet to be found. If you want to conduct anything well, if you want to use, let's say your cell phone, a simple gadget, the more you know about it, the better you can use it. Is it so? Is it so? Why is that not true with this? The more you know about this, the better you can use it, isn't it? So we call this self-realization. Self-realization is not an achievement, not an attainment, not an invention. We just realized a few things about this, about the self. We realized the nature of what this is. Knowing the nature of this life, should it happen to you at the beginning of your life or at the end of your life? Because there is a certain thing going around, spirituality is at the end of your life, when you're no good for nothing. That's a time to do the spiritual process. I am asking you, knowing this should happen to you at the beginning or at the end? It should happen at the beginning. If you know this at the very beginning of life, you will live a wonderful life. If you don't know this, you will blunder through life. In the end, if you come to know, you may die peacefully. A lot of people don't even do that, that's another matter. But they will rest in peace. At least they will leave others in peace. We thought we will meditate the words. Is it okay with you? Yes. Can I trust you with eyes closed? That's all I'm asking. The word meditation, the English word meditation, does not mean anything. Or in other words, it does not say anything specific. If you close your eyes and sit, people will say, oh, he's meditating. With eyes closed, you can do many things. You can do, if you go with the yogic terminology, you can do japa, tapa, dharana, dhyana, samadhi, shunya, samyama, many things. Or you might have just mastered the art of sleeping in vertical postures. Especially those of you who are veterans of many spiritual discourses, you learn to sleep with your eyes open. Comes with practice. So what is meditation? Meditation is not an act. It is not something that you can do. It is a quality. The problem right now in the modern world is, because we have become too goal-oriented, we want the mangoes, but we don't care about the tree. If this continues for long, you will have to eat plastic mangoes one day. Yes or no? You don't have to want the mangoes. If you care for the tree, mangoes will fall on your head, isn't it? You know it happened to Isaac Newton? Realization happened. Just because the fruit fell, the fruit happened, keep falling. But realization happened, such a big realization happened. Similarly, if you want something, that's not what you go for. If you want flowers in your garden, you don't have to do flower meditation. If you want flowers in your garden, you must not think about flowers. You must think soil, manure, water, sunlight. None of them look like flowers. Soil doesn't look like flowers, manure doesn't smell like flowers, water has nothing to do with flowers, sunlight, not at all flowering. But if you manage these things, flowers will happen, isn't it? Similarly, meditation does not mean doing something like that. If you cultivate the body, if you cultivate the mind, emotion and energy to a certain level of maturity, meditation will happen. Or you will become meditative. The fragrance of meditativeness will go with you wherever you go. So it is a quality, it is not an action or an act that you perform. So how do we bring about this quality? Cultivating the body, mind, emotion, energy. Right now, because you are just weekend yogis, when you're a weekend yogi, there is no time for all those things. We will do something very simple. There is a process called inner engineering, that is, if you're willing to commit yourself for 30 hours of focused time, then we will teach you something, that if you sit here, your body is here, your mind is somewhere else, what is you is somewhere else. Once there is a distance between you and your body, between you and your mind, this is the end of suffering. Because you know only two kinds of sufferings in your life: physical suffering, mental suffering. Do you know any other suffering? Do you? No. Physical suffering, mental suffering. Little distance between you and your body, little distance between you and your mind. This is the end of suffering. Only when you're in it, it is a problem. Little distance, everything is okay. Let's say you're driving to the airport, big traffic jam. You suffer this, isn't it? Then somehow you made it. You got into the airplane and it started flying. You look down, still big traffic jam. It looks really nice. Simply because of the distance. When you were in it, it was not looking nice. Once you're above it, it looks pretty nice. Same with your body, same with your mind. Once you have a little distance, whatever mess you are, still it looks nice. When you're in it, mess hurts. So creating a little distance on a daily basis, if this becomes a part of your life, there is a little bit of space between you and your body, between you and your mind. Once this happens, this is the end of suffering. Once there is no fear of suffering, that is when you walk your life full stride. That is when you would like to explore every nook and corner of your existence, because there is nothing to fear. If you have no fear of suffering, even if you go to the worst place, you can still enjoy it, isn't it? Yes or no? Because as long as you cannot suffer, everything seems to be fine. So suffering is not a natural thing. Pain, physical pain may come because of injury or disease or something, but suffering is all manufactured in your mind. Once there's a little distance, this is the end of it. Well, we can't do all that in these 2 hours, but if you go by the instructions, we can smell the meditation a little bit. Are we okay? Just check all people next to you, they're all awake. We'll do something very simple, okay? You will notice this, that there is something about your hands. Just sit with your spine reasonably erect, using the chair's backrest, just comfortably erect. We will just try these 2 hands, okay? All the 5 fingers together, place it gently upon your thigh, all 5 fingers together. Don't keep it like this way. All the 5 fingers together, okay? Not like this, like this. Place it gently upon your thigh. What we will do is, with our eyes closed, we will breathe slightly deeper than normal, let's say 10–15% more than what we normally do. And notice where the maximum expansion and contraction is. As you're doing this, I will ask you to switch. When I say switch, you turn your hands over without breaking the rhythm of your breathing. Again, when I say switch, get back here. In these 2 positions, something about your breath will change. I want you to notice that. Please hold it this way. Eyes closed. Breathe in and out slightly deeper than normal. Notice where the maximum expansion and contraction is. Switch. Switch again. Please open your eyes. There's some difference between these two. Someone say what? This way? Where is the maximum expansion and contraction? This way? Okay. I will tell you what's happening, try it again and see. When you place it this way, you will notice the maximum expansion and contraction in the lower lobe of the lung. So you will notice it in the diaphragm region. If you turn it around, it moves a little higher up to the middle lobe of the lung. Just try it and see, just one breath. That's all. So just turning your hands around, the very way you breathe is altering itself. You know, right now, physically, your breath is the basis of your aliveness. That's okay. If I take away your breath, you're gone. This is all aliveness. Inhalation, exhalation, inhalation, exhalation. Inhalation, exhalation, next inhalation did not happen. Poof. That's all. How fragile this life is, isn't it? Just watch this. It doesn't come up, gone. At the same time, how sturdy it is, how many things a man can do. It is so delicately balanced. Oof means it may go away. That's how delicate it is. Now, just turning your head around, the very way you breathe, the very way the fundamental life process happens is altering itself. It's not just the breath, the very way life energies function in the system is altering itself. How many times in a day, unconsciously, do you do, especially if you're Indian? If anybody asks you anything, in India this means no, 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 no. You do this and now set your energies into turmoil, then you want to be peaceful. It doesn't work like this. Doesn't work like that. This is a world, this is an existence where unless you do the right things will not happen to you. Is that all right? This happened one day. Shankaran Pillai fell into the septic tank. In the septic tank, I want you to visualize yourself, right up till here in filth. He desperately tried to come out, he could not come. Then he started screaming, fire, fire, fire. Neighbors heard this, called the fire brigades. Firemen came rushing all over the place, they looked here, there, no fire. Then they found Shankaran Pillai in the septic tank. They pulled him out and they said, why were you screaming fire? Where is the fire? Shankaran Pillai said, if I said shit, 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 would you come? Unless you do the right things will not happen to you. This is true with the outside world. This is true with the inside, inner dimension also. Unless you do the right things will not happen to you. Or in other words, if right things are not happen to you, you must see you are not doing the right things. Yes? In the outside world, even if you are doing the right thing, maybe somebody next to you is sitting and doing more powerful wrong thing. So it may not happen. But in the inner world, only you, isn't it? Inside, how many of you? Inside? Only one? Only one or more? Tell me it's okay. Because the moment I ask you something, you will say, my Atma, my Paramatma, my ego, my Ankara, my this. I'm asking you, how many people inside? Only one, better be only one. If more than one are there, it means you're either schizophrenic or you're possessed. That means you either need a psychiatrist or an exorcist. Only one. You are an individual. An individual means not further divisible. There are three people within you, we can't make you meditate. Only if you're an individual, not further divisible. The moment you divide this further, you will become sick. You may think you're doing something spiritual, you're just driving yourself crazy. Yes, you may think, by thinking my Atma is here, my Paramatma is here, my ego is somewhere else, if you think like this, you are driving yourself towards madness. This is not spiritual process. Let this be very, very clear, there is only one in this. The reason why it looks like there are many is, you surprise yourself. Sometimes you're so wonderful. Sometimes you are a horror. Sometimes you're beautiful. Sometimes you're ugly. Sometimes you're wonderful. Sometimes you're nasty. This is who you are, isn't it? Yes or no? If you see it is me, who is sometimes wonderful and sometimes nasty, if you see it's just me who's doing this, you will want to fix your nastiness sometime, isn't it? If you think, no, no, I am very nice, my ego, nasty fellow, Mr. Ego, you know, then you can never fix, you can't fix a crowd, you can fix an individual. Because only if you sit here as an individual, we can make you have the fragrance of meditation with you. Otherwise, how can you make a crowd meditate? You cannot make a crowd meditate. Only one, right? That's good. You sit with your hands open like this, and you keep your face slightly upturned like this with your eyes closed. If you do this, those of you wearing spectacles, if you can please, I'm sorry, if you can keep it aside, keep it in your pocket or whatever. With a slightly upturned face, with eyes closed, if you sit, you will notice a mild focus will happen between your eyebrows. Do you notice that? A mild focus is there between the eyebrows. Just maintain this mild focus between the eyebrows. Hold that attention, no need to concentrate, don't make too much effort, just a mild focus. Take your own time. Take your own time, slowly, very, very slowly. Open your eyes. If you have any question, any kind of question that matters to you, please, microphone. Where's the microphone?
Hello? Hey Sadhguru.
Where are you?
Right here. Namaste. I guess my question is, what's the fundamental difference between you and me and everyone? At our core, not just like superficially. I mean, you look different in some, obviously, but what's the difference between someone who's enlightened and someone who's not? At the core.
What is the difference? I'm sorry.
What's the difference between someone who's fully realized and someone who's not?
Nothing.
If you see some difference, there is. If there isn't, there isn't.